Welcome to the Midlife Men podcast with me, Philip Briscoe. My guest today is Simon. Simon's lived through some difficult periods in his life, including the breakdown of his relationship and the emotional fallout that came with that. But out of his experience, he's created the men's man cave, which is a space where men don't have to pretend they're fine and they can be honest about what's really going on. So welcome to you, Simon.
Thank you very much, Philip, and thank you for allowing me to join you on this podcast.
Not at all. I'm looking forward to it. So let's start by perhaps take us back. You know, what was happening in your life when things perhaps started to fall apart a bit?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I will go back right to the beginning, really, of where I was starting when I was a child, really, and knowing that I was an extremely sensitive child as well to the environments where I was being brought up in. And I had a father that continually worked, a mother that was very busy around the house. And I lived in environments where it wasn't very comfortable for myself. My parents would argue the majority of the time with one another. And I was wondering as to why on earth is this happening? And all I wanted to be able to do is be heard by other people. And be heard by my friends, my family, and also to be loved as well. And that's essentially what every child wants when they're actually growing up. And to me, childhood was quite a strenuous time for me. I would usually put a pillow over the top of my head and sort of like just bury myself away and think, okay, when's this actually going to end? It's quite tough. It's quite tough hearing your parents arguing at the time. And you just want things just to be perfectly normal. I mean, now my parents are still arguing. They've recently been through a divorce. And, you know, I'm sometimes in the middle of it as well, because there's a family-run business that has been completely obliterated by it. So it's never really an easy way of, when you look back at the childhood, of how that has actually come out later on in life. You know, when you look back at it, you're always looking for that validation. You're always looking for love from other people. And that led me on to going into relationships. And going into relationships with other people, and you're then looking at the relationships in the wrong way. Instead of loving yourself, who you are first, and being able to appreciate your own values, I found that I just wanted to enter into a relationship just to feel this love that I never actually felt from my parents. That was never really there. I've always wanted to have that relationship with my father. He was always too busy or always pushed me to one side. And I suppose, yeah, it's a difficult thing when your own father pushes you to one side. It's only recently have I actually started going out for a drink with him to the pub, even though I don't really drink all that much. But it's only just very recent I've started doing that. I'm now 44. And, you know, it's quite an eye-opener, really, just to think about that throughout the 44 years of your life, it's only a very, very short period of time that you actually have to be able to spend with your parents.
Why do you think that might be? Do you think it's kind of conditioning? You know, we're talking a generation before us, but do you think it was kind of a bit of social conditioning that men, you know, left perhaps bringing up children to their wives? I mean, you know, traditional kind of, you know, what we would call now old-fashioned type of family unit.
Yeah, I feel it is very old-fashioned. It is very much like the father goes out to work and needs to earn the money or wants to earn the money, put the bread on the plate and everything for the family. And there is that time where they're just wanting to survive. They're just wanting to create something for their family at the end of the day. And I appreciate that he has done his hard work, and I actually see that now, that things have actually paid off for him, for persevering and still going through it, through every single situation that he possibly can. I mean, I will turn to him and ask him for advice because he's been extremely successful. He's been one that has been able to create good business deals with other people and been able to get to where he is. Yeah, one being a little bit selfish in a way, and being able to deal with people that have confronted him on many a times and knowing how to deal with these people as well. He's been able to achieve great things, which I take my hat off to him. But there's still that part of you that there's just that connection that's just missing.
And I guess as a child, you don't really appreciate the kind of success and the money and everything else. You just want your dad or to spend time with him or your mum or whoever. So you talked about going then into, growing up and having your own relationships. And so, you're saying that you perhaps went into them with the wrong frame of mind, looking for the wrong things. How did that, how did that play out?
So going into them with the wrong attitude, really, and the wrong frame of mind for myself, because all I've experienced throughout my life was my parents arguing the majority of the time. It wasn't necessarily seeing a loving relationship between two people, even though I wanted that for myself. And, society sort of like says, oh, you must have a loving relationship, a loving family, create children and be able to go out there with this ideal family. And when you get into the relationship, you soon realize, okay, this isn't all that it seems. And yeah, I had children very early on when I was 27. I had my first son. He was born, and really the flags were already there, the red flags saying to me, don't go further forward with this relationship because she's pushing you to one side. She's not ready. She's not ready to have a relationship. But I wanted that family unit there. And the red flags were she was just more or less pushing me to one side, blocking all communication and everything. And that was tough.
Do you think you were trying to create what you didn't have growing up? Do you think that was one of the drivers?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, it was because I just wanted that family unit. I wanted that fantastic family unit that you see on television and films on occasions. And, I was striving for that, wanting to see it for myself and going, oh, yes, I'm living a happy life. And, yeah, things did become extremely stressful for me. I went through, she moved in eventually with me, but things became extremely stressful where I was diagnosed when I was about in my 30s of testicular cancer. I went through that. That was a horrific time for me, going through that and actually experiencing it. You think your life is going to massively fall apart then. You don't know what direction you're going to be going in if you're going to be having to go under chemo or radiotherapy for a long period of time. Fortunately, I didn't because it was benign. But it's a scary moment. It's a scary thing to actually deal with.
And was there, do you feel that, if your relationship isn't built on strong foundations, then it becomes even more difficult to deal with additional dramas or traumas in your life?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, we bought our first house and I was very, very busy with dealing with the house at that time, with renovating it and making it livable. And there was a lot of stress going on between us, between the relationships as well. And there's the things with dealing with money and being able to really direct ourselves in a certain way that we can work together as a team. But we weren't actually bonding. Like you said, the foundations weren't there.
And so I guess that relationship didn't end or it ended. It was, in separation. How did you, how did you manage that, emotionally, practically? Did it, especially, had you recovered from, or had you been given the all clear from the cancer at that point?
Well, I was going under surveillance for 10 years. So it was constant blood tests and making sure that nothing was coming at her back, constant x-rays, etc. That was going through. So the hospitals were fantastic as far as that goes. Yeah, when the relationship actually broke down between us, it was a very tough time. And at that stage, I was almost in the stage of just wanting to end life myself. I didn't feel right. And I took a large overdose when the relationship came to an end, because I was thinking, hold on, I've put all of this work in, all of this effort into this, building this relationship, building this foundation. And then suddenly it just is obliterated just like that. And you start questioning as to why. Is this me? Is this something that I've done wrong? And you start blaming yourself. You start looking at different situations and the self-blame starts kicking in, thinking as to, okay, why are these things happening to me? And in a way, I tried to build myself up from that instance and ended up going into other relationships that also broke down suddenly. And I think, okay, no children involved, fortunately, in those relationships. And then you fall in love with somebody and the relationship breaks down again. And you think, okay, why does this always happen with me? Why is this on a repeat cycle, time and time again, relationship after relationship not actually working?
Did you have any support? Can I ask you, did you talk to anyone at the time, or did you seek, external advice or support?
I went to go and speak to somebody at one moment, and it didn't really resonate with me at the time. Nothing really resonated for me with the support that I was actually seeking. And it was until my second to last relationship that I was actually in that I started going into spiritualism. And spiritualism, okay, some guys would probably turn their head away from it and go, oh, that's a bit too woo-woo for me. But in a sense, it actually gave me a reconnection to who I am. And it wasn't a sense of being judged by anyone. It was a question of being able to relax and just be in the moment and just be centering yourself to the time that's most important, the here and now. And I still hadn't dealt with everything that was going on in my head at all, and still hadn't dealt with all the challenges that I'd been experiencing prior to that. And somebody came along with a daughter as well, and ended up falling back in love with this person and having a great time together, got engaged and everything. But I hadn't yet done the own building work on myself of actually finding out what I wanted in life. And I looked, and the relationship was fantastic that I went into. And she moved in with me. We renovated my house. And then her parents decided, okay, let's buy a big house that you can all move into. And something in me just was going along with it. I don't know why. I just went along with it, and I was a little bit younger than what I am now. I was probably 38, 39 when going through this, and I just went along with it and moved in. I had a daughter with this person. I moved into the house with her parents, but something didn't click. Something didn't feel right within me. And started taking large amounts of ibuprofen, paracetamol, feeling extremely suicidal at that time. When moved in with the parents, I was being belittled, being called, "You're not good enough. I wish you were better. I wish you were like my ex-partner." More or less being judged for everything that you did. And I work in garden maintenance. That's my daytime job. And at the time, the ex-mother-in-law said to me, "You don't know what you're doing with the garden. You've got no clue at all." And I've been working in garden maintenance for the past 15 years. And that hit me. That hit me massively. And at that time, a little voice inside my head, because I was taking so many drugs just to want to try and end life, a voice inside of me just said, "You've got to go. You've got to leave. You've got to go." And I remember the time really, really well in my head. It was 27th of March that I left. And I remember it so clearly. And it was a difficult time because it was leaving a family that I really did love behind. But now looking back at it, it was the best decision that I've ever made. I don't look back at it in a bad way at all. I look at it that I've become a lot stronger to where I am now. And at that time, I did actually resonate with somebody. I sought help very, very quickly, and he brought me back onto the right path because he saw something completely different in me that other guidance people never actually saw. And he said something very, very simple and very logical to me. He said, "Start writing all of your thoughts down onto paper. Start writing everything down that you're going through, and it will release what's actually going on within your head, within your mind." So I started doing that. And still going through therapy with him, he even said to me, "Start practicing gratitude and at least writing down 5 things that you're grateful for every single day. And even the relationships that you've been through, start being grateful for all of those." And at first you sort of like question it and query it as to why. Why is this important? And equally at the same time, I actually turned back into spiritualism because during the relationship that I was in, she frowned upon it. She thought it was something not worthy or right for you to actually go in. But also spiritualism started teaching me all of these skills that also my counsellor at the time was actually teaching me.
Just going back to the point where, something in your head said, right, you need to leave. Because it sounds like you're in a pretty toxic environment. Do you think that was your own survival instinct kicking in? Because it sounds like that was your tipping point to change what was going on, change your trajectory.
Absolutely. I feel that something certainly kicked in. Survival mechanism did actually kick in because it wasn't right. I was damaging myself at that period of time. And yeah, there could be the thing of people that go on the spiritualism route that could say, yeah, it was your spirit guides. I don't know how many people believe in that, but I do believe in it. And it's a thing that I tend to look back at now and think, yeah, perhaps it was somebody actually putting out a hand to me and actually lifting me out of this big hole that I was in, lifting me away from the bars that I was trapped behind. Because you do tend to feel a little bit trapped. You don't know what direction to go in until you actually start talking and start speaking out to somebody about what you've actually been through.
Yes, many men I speak to on this podcast, almost all of them say it's very difficult to do this yourself. You know, you do need some help. You do need to talk to somebody, the right person in the right situation. Let me just ask you, because people listening to this might not know, they might have heard of spiritualism. You know, they might not really know what that means. How would you, define it to people when you talk about, finding spiritualism?
Okay, spiritualism to me is really looking at your inner soul, looking at who you are on the inside. Yeah, it's another way of sort of like just dealing with what's actually your emotions that are on the inside, but also looking that you're also connected to everything that's around you. And spiritualism helps teach you that there's an energy that's all around us. And I tend to feel that, okay, there's a loving energy, because everything, if you have a look, everything is made out of love. Everything is love. So spiritualism gives you that sense of being able to be at peace with things in your own mind. And it also gives you a strength that you're not the only thing that's just out there. There's a lot more out there that can actually support you and help you feel balanced in a way. I mean, with spiritualism, they sometimes teach you to meditate, or sometimes just teach you just to be in the here and now, just to be in the moment, which is that here and now. Eckhart Tolle mentions about this, being in the here and now and just being in the only moment. Because the past is the past. We can't change it. The past has built us to where we need to be.
And how do you, if you're in a situation where you're feeling pretty desperate, you're talking about finding spiritualism is a source of great help, especially in kind of in instances, situations where you don't feel in control. How do you even start going about adopting any sort of spiritualism? Do you read a book? Do you go and do a course? Do you go and how do you actually start to understand more about it?
So I was seeking for answers. I was looking for answers as to why relationships were failing for me and what was actually going wrong. So I went to a spiritualist church. They're dotted around the country. It doesn't mean that they actually are preaching God. They take in anybody that wants to find out a little bit more about life. And it gave me a sense of actually connecting that, or actually realizing that there's more to life than just as what is in front of us. I mean, the thing of knowing, okay, your loved ones still are alive, even though they've gone to a different level. They've actually passed, but they're still there and still supporting you, gives you such a great feeling within you that life still moves on. And that this life, I now see it as being a bit of a playground and a bit of a learning curve for you to be able to grow, in a sense of growing your soul, growing you as an individual on who you are, and being able to also try and increase your vibration to the highest vibration there is. So it's your energy that you actually give off to other people. And it's a sense of, we can all walk into a room and there might be somebody that's very, very low and very down in the dumps and not feeling right. And it will give off an energy to the whole room, and everyone will be going, oh, yeah, but why is this feeling this way? What's wrong? It's like the atmosphere that I was living in with my partner at the time. The energy was very, very low. And you start questioning it. Okay, why am I feeling suddenly very down in the dumps and not feeling right? And it can be the environment that you're even living in that can cause you to feel a certain way within you. It can either make you feel happy or it can make you feel sad. It's like going to watch a film. It can make you feel happy or make you feel sad. Or if you go and watch a horror film, you can be sitting there and shivering all the rest of your night. But that's this energy that is actually released from it. And understanding that a lot more has helped me navigate environments a lot better. And at the moment, I'm kind of like going through dynamics with my family, my mother, my father, and them having gone through a divorce and me being in a family business with them. The dynamics became very, very negative. And I thought, hold on a minute, but this isn't right. This doesn't serve me the purpose for my life of where I want to go and what direction I want to go in. So I took myself out of that equation completely, out of the family business, and set up my own. When do you start to realize, okay, the environment that you're in isn't actually serving you the purpose? As soon as you start stepping away from it, you feel a sense of freedom. You feel a sense of relief, like a big pressure has been taken off your shoulders at that time. And I certainly feel that with having actually released from the family business now, that the pressure has disappeared, that I'm able to move in the direction that I want to move in. I'm able to do what I would like to do with my life without being questioned about it or being quizzed. But also knowing that I've got this loving energy within me and a sense of finding my own strength within myself from being able to connect with who I am on the inside. I feel that I've been able to navigate situations a lot better, a lot calmer.
What suggestion would you have to somebody listening to this who, hasn't tried, anything to do with spiritualism before? What's a kind of very easy first step thing they can do, right now, just to see if it's going to work for them, to see if it's going to help them, understand the situation more, find more peace, find a way forward?
Well, I feel it's more for them to actually step out of this comfort zone. We can all be locked away and feel afraid of actually going out there and experiencing something different. And it's only once that you have to try it. And if it doesn't resonate, don't go down that route. But if it starts feeling right and it starts filling a hole or a gap in your life, then persevere with it, stick to it, keep on moving with it. And it's a sense of never giving up. It's exactly the same of, say, for instance, if you're going to a gym and you want to have that perfect body, it's actually never giving up, because as soon as you give up, then you give in.
And what about kind of, I guess, tangible ways of, for example, I know you talk a lot about breath work, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What can you do physically, I guess, to start that journey?
To physically start that journey is really sitting. I tend to find just sitting in the quiet to begin with, and to start writing down your own thoughts, to start the journey with your own connection, because we can store a lot of our own feelings, our own emotions within our own body. And actually starting to ask yourself questions as to, why am I feeling this way? What is actually going on within me? And where is this actually coming from? Why have I got these feelings that is going on within me? And as soon as you start connecting on that level, you start understanding a lot more about who you are in yourself, what sort of person you are. And I mean, the mind, body and soul is all connected. It's all one. It performs how you want it to perform. nurturing your body is one of them. Getting out in nature is another thing, just to be able to connect with what nature has to offer. It's got fantastic healing modalities. It can take a lot of pressure away from us. It's a sense of relief, but also it's a sense of just being able to be free again, free from all the noise that's going on around you.
So when did you realise that it wasn't just about you helping yourself, but actually it's something you could help other men with?
So from having gone through the relationship that I did where that broke down, I went from learning spiritualism to learning about Reiki healing, which is healing of the person's energy, and learning about clinical hypnotherapy and breath work. And to me, I thought, okay, there's something that I can actually offer other men out there to be able to help them to be able to connect with who they are on the inside, to bring them back to themselves, to actually see that they can actually build up their own strength and their own power, their own resilience, to be able to get to where they want to be in life. And having learnt therapy myself, my tutor actually said, it's about teaching people of how to become their own best therapist themselves. And as soon as you start learning the techniques and the tools that are out there to be able to navigate life's challenges, you find that the challenges that you are faced with becomes a lot easier to deal with. For instance, just being able to resonate with your own breath. We tend to forget that's a life force energy, our own breath. It gives us the sense of peace there and then. As soon as you start focusing on your breath, you come back to the present moment. As soon as you start realizing your own 5 senses that you have, you start connecting with just present moment. Because if we look too much in the future, that can create a sense of fear, a sense of, okay, I'm not so sure if this is going to work, you self-doubt. And then if you're too much in the past, you've got all of the stories going on in your mind to thinking, why has this actually happened to me? What's going on? Why am I in this situation now? But as soon as you start connecting to the moment now, there's nothing else that's important.
Does that help with decision making? Does that help with, finding ways forward, finding resolutions to problems you're having?
I certainly feel it does, because you tend to not over question things. It brings a sense of clarity. It brings a sense of, okay, you ask yourself the question, what direction do I need to go in? The answer does come to you. The answer comes in the right way. And if you're able just to silence the mind a little bit, and it's not the question of getting rid of every single thought, it's a question of just being able to quieten the mind a little bit. And that first thought, or the first feeling that you have, 9 times out of 10, that can be the right feeling to steer you in the right direction of where you need to go in life. And it's gaining that clarity. And I tend to find that if I'm going in the shower, that I sometimes have a cold shower in the mornings. And that also brings a sense of, to bring me back to this moment, back to the moment where I need to be, feeling aligned with who I am. And then suddenly I get directions just flooding in, a sense of clarity. Okay, this is what will happen, or this can happen today. And you tend to jot these things down, and your day feels calm. It feels less stressful. It feels that you're able to connect with it a lot better. You're not on edge all the time.
So if you've got a job that's high pressure, demanding, perhaps you're not enjoying it, perhaps you're very anxious, or you know that at the end of the day, you're probably going to open a bottle of beer or wine, and you want to break that cycle. Can this help to help you to better manage your life, both externally and internally?
Oh, absolutely. It certainly can help and manage, and it can lower your stress levels that's going on within you. And it's really a thing of being able to regulate your nervous system that's running through each and every one of us. And you can have the fight and flight response, or you can be calm and relaxed and be able to go, right, okay, this is what I'm doing. And the alcohol, okay, people enjoy a drink, but sometimes it can throw us off the wrong path. It can throw us in the wrong direction with drinking too much. We don't have that clarity. We can't think properly from it.
And what about, you've talked a lot about doing this yourself. A lot of the men I've spoken to on this podcast, they talk about the benefits of a community, of men, some sort of, space that they can go to. What's the role of that community and those spaces for men?
Well, so with the Men's Mind Cave, it's a community that I've built up, and it's for men to be able to just speak out freely and just be able to connect with who they are. And if they've got issues that they're facing, that they can share it with other people. And it's a sense of being heard. It's a sense of being listened by other men that may well have been going through the same situation that they are going through. And, there's plenty of people out there. I'm seeing it more and more on social media that there's plenty of fathers that are going through difficult times with child maintenance service payments and the stress of dealing with even just day-to-day life, day-to-day work, and even parental alienation. I've been through all of this myself. It's a sense of for people to come together to be able to help one another on their journey that they're going through, and knowing that there is help out there, there is the guidance, there is the support, and that they're never alone.
I think that's one of the most powerful things, isn't it? Because so many men who haven't spoken out or just keeping it hidden inside do think they're the only person going through this, and that no one else will understand, so they don't talk about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that most men are afraid to actually deal with that. But as soon as you start speaking out, something lifts within you, and you feel a sense of, okay, this is now feeling right, because you've been able to speak about these emotions. The emotions that are trapped within your body starts to actually lift. And you don't even need to talk about it. You can remain off camera. And it's a thing of even just connecting with your own breath can do so much for you to help you feel calmer within yourself and to help you feel relieved. And yeah, I very much like the breath work that I help people with.
Well, some of the things that men are suffering from when they join your group. I'm guessing that it's mainly around issues associated with being separated or divorced, and where there are, children in play. So there must be some common themes that you see that men are, suffering from when they come and see you.
There's the things of daily stress, being able to manage that. There's relationship breakdowns that a lot of men are going through currently, and I've seen it more often, even with the younger generation now. There's quite a few of them questioning as to why their relationships are breaking down all the time. And yeah, they're connecting with me, and they're seeking the guidance that I can provide to them. And it's only a sense of guidance that I can only provide. But yeah, does help them. Does help them massively.
And what do you find is, how are men responding once they get involved in either, the spirituality or the breath work or just coming together as a community? I mean, do you see do you see progress? Do you see a change?
You certainly see a change within them. You see from the start to where they're actually going to, you see every time they feel a lot stronger within themselves. They feel more empowered. They've got a direction. They've got something to actually focus on. And I'm getting good feedback from the people that I am actually dealing with, that they actually are sensing a bit of freedom within them, that they're not actually looking on the outside for the validation, that they're actually looking within themselves for their own validation, that they are capable of being able to achieve great things in life. And I love being able to teach them that they can do anything that they'd like to do, and it's a question of not giving up at all on yourself.
So for men listening to this right now who feel like they're alone, they're going through their own issues around perhaps relating to potential separation from their partners, the children might be involved, and they just don't really know what to do. They feel completely, as you said, behind bars or bottom of a well. What would you suggest? What can they do? What would be something they could do to just help in that scenario?
I think it's a sense of knowing that they're not alone, and to help themselves is writing down everything that they can write down that's going through going on within their mind. But it's just reaching out, and it's just talking to somebody and just opening up. Because the more that we close ourselves off, the more anxious we can start feeling. And it's really knowing that the only person that they need to control out this situation is themselves. Everything else is not important.
Great advice, thank you. So, if people listening to this want to contact you or find out more about Men's Man Cave, where do they go? How do they find out more?
So they can find me at going to www.mensmindcave.co.uk, or they can come and find me on Facebook or Instagram, which is Men's Mind Cave, or on both platforms.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, Simon, look, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us today and being so kind of open and honest. I think there's a lot of men listening who will be able to relate to your story and hopefully be inspired by some of the things that you've been talking about, and perhaps try it if they've not tried it before. So thank you.
And thank you so much, Philip, for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Midlife Men podcast with me, Philip Briscoe. If you want to find out more about Simon and the Men's Mind Cave, visit his website, mensmindcave.co.uk. You can also find him on Facebook or Instagram under Men's Mind Cave. To help raise the profile of the podcast, it really helps if you can review the show on your podcast platform. And please do share it with your networks and with people you think might benefit from listening. If you have a story to share, then please do contact me through the website mid-lifemen.com.